It happened fast, too fast for anyone inside Rikers Island to understand. 1 second, the long hallway of the Anna M. Cross Center was shaking with shouting. The next second, the lights went out. Pitch black. All you could hear was metal slamming, boots running, and a scream so sharp it sliced through the darkness. Someone whispered, "This is Rikers. Nobody's coming to save you." Then came the part that shocked even the most hardened inmates. A figure appeared in the dark holding something sharp, moving toward a young inmate trapped near the wall. The officers were nowhere in sight. Nobody knew who cut the power or why. And right before the first strike landed, everything stopped. But how did it get this bad? What led to that terrifying night when the lights went out, leaving everyone at the mercy of the shadows? To understand that, we have to go back to when the trouble first began. 3 weeks earlier, 19-year-old Malik Porter stepped off the crowded transport bus and into the cold air of Rikers Island. He wasn't a violent kid. He wasn't part of any gang. He was just scared in a way he had never felt before. The giant doors clanged shut behind him. A guard looked at him and said, "Rikers will either break you or change you." Inside the housing unit, Malik met his bunkmate, an older man named Reggie, who had survived years on the island. Reggie warned him, "Stay quiet, stay humble, and don't look anybody in the eyes too long. That's how you stay alive here." For a few days, Malik kept his head down. These were the low moments, quiet mornings, slow meals, and the sound of distant arguments that never came close. But Rikers never stays calm for long. One afternoon, loud voices echoed through the tier. 2 rival crews were arguing over control of the phones. Malik tried to walk past them, but one of the crew leaders bumped him hard. "You got a problem, kid," the man growled. Before anything could happen, an officer stepped in. "Break it up, now." Things cooled down, but only on the surface. The danger didn't go away. It was waiting, growing, watching. For the next few days, Malik noticed strange things. Whispers between inmates, hidden looks, sudden silence when guards walked by. Rikers was heating up. Late one night, Malik woke up to the sound of metal sliding under his cell door. He picked it up. It was a sharpened toothbrush and a note that said, "You'll need this soon." Before he could ask questions, someone down the tier started banging on their door, yelling, "They are cutting the power tonight." Malik's heart dropped. Something bad was coming. Something huge. And that night, the night the lights went out, was about to begin. The lights snapped off so suddenly that Malik felt his heart slam against his chest. The hallway, one of the busiest in Rikers, was now nothing but a long, cold tunnel of darkness. Men shouted. Metal clanged. Someone yelled, "Stay against the wall." But nobody listened. Malik pressed his back to the cold concrete. He couldn't see, but he could feel movement all around him. Quick, panicked, dangerous movement. A deep voice growled from somewhere in the dark. "Tonight's the night. Handle your business." Then Malik heard footsteps rushing toward him. He didn't know if it was a guard, an inmate, or someone looking for trouble. He only knew one thing. The island had become a battlefield. After a few seconds, emergency lights flickered weakly, turning everything blood red. Shadows stretched across the hallway like long arms reaching for anyone who moved. People were running in every direction. Some inmates used the darkness to settle old scores. Others just tried not to get caught in the middle. Malik spotted Reggie waving at him. "Get over here, kid!" Reggie shouted. Malik pushed through the chaos, dodging 2 inmates who were wrestling on the floor. Another man ran past holding a broken broomstick like a weapon. Reggie grabbed Malik's shoulder. "Listen, when the power goes out at Rikers, it's never an accident. Somebody planned this, and we don't want to be in the line of fire." For a moment, Malik felt a little safer beside Reggie. This was a low part, brief calm in the middle of a storm. But the peace didn't last. They moved deeper into the tier, where a few inmates had grouped together, whispering fast. "They are saying 2 rival crews are using the blackout to settle everything tonight. I heard an officer got jumped in the next building. Phone's been down all day. No cameras now. Anything can happen." Malik listened, fear growing inside him. No cameras, no lights, no guards in sight. Rikers Island was running on pure chaos. Reggie leaned close and whispered, "Stay behind me. If anything pops off, don't freeze." Malik nodded, trying to breathe slow. For a moment, things seemed steady again. The emergency lights hummed. The shouting faded. A strange, heavy silence filled the hallway. Malik thought maybe, just maybe, the danger had passed. He was wrong, very wrong. A loud crash exploded from the far end of the hall. Then came screaming. 3 masked inmates charged through the tier holding makeshift weapons. One with a sharpened mop handle, one with a metal tray bent into a blade, and one with a heavy lock wrapped in a sock. People ran. Others froze. The leader shouted, "Nobody moves. We're taking the phones. Anyone step up, we handle you." Reggie grabbed Malik and pushed him backward, but one of the masked men spotted them and started walking straight in their direction. The masked man walked slowly toward Malik and Reggie, his footsteps echoing under the red emergency lights. Malik's hands started shaking. He could hear his heartbeat pounding like a drum. Reggie whispered, "Don't look scared. They smell fear." But Malik was scared. Everyone was. The leader of the masked crew tapped his mop-handle weapon on the ground and pointed it at Reggie. "You too. Step forward." Reggie didn't move. Malik didn't breathe. For a moment, the hallway felt frozen in time. The leader took one more step, then another, and then he suddenly turned away and shouted at a group near the phones. "Move! Those phones are ours now." Malik gasped quietly, relief washing over him. But the danger wasn't gone. It had only shifted. Reggie grabbed Malik's sleeve. "We need to move. Now." They slid along the wall, staying low, staying quiet. Every second felt like walking through fire. On their left, 2 inmates argued loudly. This blackout wasn't supposed to happen tonight. "We ain't ready. This is bad." On their right, someone banged on a locked cell door, begging for help. The whole tier was breaking apart. But then, finally, they reached a storage room near the end of the hallway. A safe corner. For now. Reggie pushed Malik inside. "We'll wait here until things calm." A loud explosion echoed somewhere in the building. Malik jumped back. What was that? "Probably someone kicking in the metal cabinets," Reggie murmured. Or worse. This was a low part of the chapter. Danger close, but not touching them yet. But it wouldn't stay that way. The storage room was small and dusty, filled with broken chairs, old blankets, and cleaning supplies. Reggie leaned against a shelf. "Listen, kid, nights like this don't happen by accident. Somebody paid off somebody. A coup this bold." He shook his head. "They're after something big." Malik swallowed hard. "You think they'll come in here?" "Maybe. Maybe not." Malik sat on an overturned bucket, trying not to panic. He tried to block out the distant shouting. He tried to ignore the siren that kept trying and failing to turn on. For a minute, they sat in silence. A rare quiet moment inside a storm. But silence in a place like this never lasts. The doorknob rattled. Malik froze. Reggie stood up slowly, grabbing an old metal broom handle from the corner. The rattling grew louder. Then, bam! The door swung open so hard it slammed into the wall. Standing in the doorway was one of the masked inmates. His eyes wild, his breathing heavy, his weapon raised. He spotted Malik and Reggie and snarled, "You too. Out. Now." Malik's stomach dropped. Reggie tightened his grip on the broom handle. The masked man stepped forward, ready for something. The masked inmate stepped into the storage room, filling the doorway with his shadow. His voice was sharp and hard. "Out. Both of you. Let's go." Reggie held the broom handle tight, but Malik grabbed his arm. "Don't," he whispered. "He'll hurt you." Reggie slowly lowered the makeshift weapon. The masked man motioned them forward with a jerk of his head. Malik and Reggie walked out, every step heavy, every breath unsteady. The hallway looked worse than before. More inmates running, more shouting, more shadows moving fast under the red lights. The masked man pushed them forward. "No talking," he growled. "No sudden moves." Malik could feel trouble rising again. This night wasn't slowing down. It was getting worse. As they moved down the tier, Malik noticed things he hadn't seen before. Phones ripped off the walls, trash cans knocked over, streaks on the floor from earlier fights. 2 inmates were helping a limping man into a corner. Another was arguing with someone through a cell door window. "This place is out of control," Malik whispered. Reggie nodded once. "This isn't even the worst I've seen. Rikers can always get worse." For a brief moment, the masked man stopped, checking the hallway ahead. Malik used that second to breathe, to calm down, to think. This was a low part, a moment of quiet inside chaos. But it wouldn't last. The masked inmate shoved them into a small side corridor where 2 other masked men waited. They were older, tougher looking, and clearly in charge. One of them asked, "Who are these 2? The one who escorted Malik and Reggie replied, "Found them hiding. They might have seen something." Reggie spoke quickly. "Hands up. We didn't see nothing. Just trying to stay out the way." The leader stared at them for a long moment, eyes cold behind the mask. Finally, he said, "We need lookouts. You 2 will stand post while we handle business. You shout if officers show up." Malik's stomach twisted. They weren't attacking him. They were recruiting him. Not by choice. By force. Reggie whispered to Malik, "We just do what they say. Survive the night. Nothing more." Malik nodded, though he didn't feel safe at all. For a few minutes, things were strangely calm as the crew whispered among themselves, planning something big. Something secret. Malik couldn't hear much, only bits. Back in trance. Stash room. Before backup power kicks in. And then, the calm shattered. A loud voice boomed down the hallway. "Corrections. Everybody against the wall." Flashlights cut through the red emergency glow. Officers were coming. Fast. The masked crew jumped, surprised. One of them hissed, "Who saw us? Who snitched?" The leader pointed at Malik and Reggie. "You 2. Don't move." Malik froze. Reggie stepped in front of him, ready to protect him. The officer's footsteps grew louder, closer, shouting echoing off the walls. And suddenly, one officer turned the corner and came face to face with Malik, Reggie, and the masked crew. His flashlight beam hit the masked men directly. The officer yelled, "Drop the weapons. Now!" The officer's flashlight hit the masked crew like a spotlight. For a second, everything stopped. No shouting, no running, no movement, just silence. The officer repeated, "Drop the weapons." One masked man clenched the lock in a sock tighter. Another shifted his feet like he was ready to charge. Reggie whispered to Malik, "Stay still. Don't draw attention." Malik nodded, but his legs felt weak. The officer slowly reached for his radio. "Dispatch, we got armed inmates in." Before he could finish, one of the masked men hissed to the others, "Not tonight." And that's when everything exploded. The masked crew split in different directions. One ran straight at the officer, swinging the lock in a sock. Another sprinted toward a side hallway. The leader ducked behind a row of overturned bins. The officer jumped back, shouting, "Code red! Code red!" Malik grabbed Reggie's sleeve. "We need to run." But Reggie shook his head. "No, running makes you a target. Stay low. Move slow." They pressed against the wall as the officer and the masked inmate clashed in front of them. The lock swung through the air, hitting a metal rail with a loud clang. Sparks flew. The officer stumbled but didn't fall. Malik held his breath, shaking. This was chaos. Raw, violent chaos. But then, just as suddenly, another officer appeared behind them. "Hey, you 2, against the wall." Malik's chest tightened. They weren't part of the fight, but the officers didn't know that. Malik and Reggie raised their hands slowly. "We're not involved." Reggie said, "Down, now," the officer barked. Malik dropped to his knees. The floor was cold, gritty, and wet from spilled water. Reggie followed, whispering, "Don't resist, don't resist." While they were being held down, Malik could hear the battle behind him. Grunts, shouts, the thud of a weapon hitting flesh, the crackle of radios calling for backup. Another officer yelled. They are trying to reach the back corridor. Cut them off. Reggie looked over at Malik. This is bad, he whispered. This whole building is about to explode. But for a moment, things quieted. Officers started to regain control. Some inmates retreated into their cells. The masked men repositioned deeper inside the tier. It was a tense, fragile calm, a low moment after a storm. But Rikers never give you calm for long. Something else was about to happen. A sharp smell hit Malik's nose. Smoke. At first it was faint, barely noticeable. Then it grew thicker, heavier, crawling across the hallway like a living thing. One officer coughed. What is that? Another officer shouted. Fire! There's a fire in the south corridor. Panic snapped back into the building like a whip. The lights flickered again. Smoke rolled through the hallway. People started shouting, scrambling, choking. Malik's eyes widened. A fire. Inside Rikers. On blackout night. Reggie grabbed Malik's shirt. They are trying to burn their way out. We have to move before this place fills up. Before the officers could decide what to do with them, the fire alarm blared. Loud, shrill, echoing through every corner of the jail. The red lights flashed even brighter. The smoke grew thicker. And the masked crew, hidden in the haze, made their next move. The moment the metal gate slammed open, Malik felt his whole body go cold. This wasn't supposed to happen. Security gates inside Rikers do not just unlock on their own, unless someone inside the jail is helping. The masked crew rushed through the open gate, disappearing into the smoke-filled hallway ahead. Reggie grabbed Malik's arm. That gate leads to the medical wing, he warned. If they take that area, the whole building loses control. Malik coughed, covering his face as more black smoke poured through the ceiling vents. The fire was growing. The danger was spreading. Officers shouted behind them. Secure the gate. Do not let them through. But it was too late. The masked men were already gone. Moving fast, moving with a plan. Malik's heart raced. What was waiting in that wing? And why were they headed there? Malik and Reggie dropped low to the floor, crawling through the smoke-filled hallway. Reggie whispered between coughs, This smoke will knock you out quick. Stay low. Kid! They could hear alarms screaming overhead. Sprinklers tried to turn on, but the water pressure was weak, spitting instead of spraying. Malik's lungs burned. They passed a shattered window. They passed a fallen officer coughing on the ground. They passed inmates pounding on their locked doors, begging to be let out. Everything felt unreal, like the prison wasn't a prison anymore, but a maze of fire, smoke, and screaming. For a moment, things quieted. This was a low part, the slow, crawling struggle to breathe and move. But danger wasn't gone. It was waiting. Subchapter, Into the Medical Wing. When they finally reached the entrance to the medical unit, the smoke was thinner. The air smelled like burnt rubber and cleaning chemicals. The medical wing lights flickered, barely holding on. Beds were overturned. Medicine cabinets wide open. Blankets scattered across the floor. Reggie whispered, This is bad. They tore the place apart. On the far side of the room, Malik spotted something that made his stomach twist. A hole in the wall. A small maintenance access tunnel, big enough for a person to crawl inside. Fresh dust on the floor showed someone had just gone through. Reggie's eyes widened. They're not after weapons. They're after a way out. Malik swallowed, fear crawling up his spine. If the masked crew reached the utility tunnels beneath the jail, this night could end in disaster. For a moment, it was quiet again, but the kind of quiet that feels wrong. The kind that feels like something is about to snap. And then, it did. A shadow moved behind them. Malik turned and froze. The masked crew's leader stepped out from behind a row of overturned beds. His mask was smeared with soot. His weapon glowed faint red from the emergency lights. He pointed it straight at Malik and Reggie. You two again, he said coldly. Looks like you're following us. Reggie raised his hands. We're just trying to get out alive. The leader stepped closer. No, you're coming with us. Before Malik could respond, the leader grabbed him by the collar and pulled him toward the maintenance tunnel. Reggie tried to step forward, but another masked man appeared, blocking him. The leader leaned close to Malik's ear and whispered, You're going to help us escape. Malik's heart dropped. Smoke swirled around them. The alarms blared. The tunnel stretched into darkness, and Malik had no choice, as the leader forced him toward the hole in the wall. The night after the riot transfers, the whole jail felt strange, almost too quiet, like everyone was holding their breath. Leo sat on the edge of his bunk, staring at the small window above him. The hallway was silent except for the buzzing lights. For the first time since he came to the island, he wondered, if I survive tomorrow, will I ever be the same again? Because nothing inside this place ever ended clean. Every fight led to another. Every secret led to something darker. Every promise of change faded away. And Leo knew it. He could feel it. Something was coming. Something he couldn't escape. Just before lights out, an older inmate known as Red leaned toward Leo's cell. In a quiet voice he said, "Look, word is spreading. They are blaming you for the riot." Leo froze. His heart dropped. "How?" he whispered back. Red shook his head slowly. "It doesn't matter. They need someone to blame. And someone out there already decided it's you." The hallway suddenly felt smaller. Danger felt closer. Leo knew what that meant. In a place like this, you didn't have to be guilty. You only had to be named. Subchapter: The morning that changed everything. The next morning, Leo was called out for court transport. He walked into the hallway in handcuffs, 2 officers escorting him. His legs felt heavy. The air felt different. But as they turned the corner toward the exit gate, a loud alarm went off. Beep, 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 beep. Red lights flashed. Officers started running in every direction. "Till lockdown! Till lockdown!" someone shouted. Leo turned back to look toward the housing unit. Smoke, shouting, the sound of things breaking. Then one of the officers holding him said, "Not again, not today." Another emergency, another explosion inside the jail, and Leo was stuck in the middle of it. Again, as officers rushed past him, one guard held Leo against the wall, keeping him in place. A captain came jogging down the hallway and yelled, "Get him out of here now. They are coming for him. Move." Leo's eyes widened. Coming for him? The captain didn't say it softly. He didn't hide it. He didn't care who heard. Someone had spread Leo's name through the units. Someone wanted him gone, and the chaos breaking out behind them was the cover. The officers pulled Leo quickly through a back hallway toward the transport exit. He didn't even have time to think. One officer whispered, "Kid, you don't understand how lucky you are. If you were in that housing unit right now." He didn't finish the sentence, because he didn't have to. Leo stepped into the transport van, the metal door slamming behind him. The engine started. The van rolled forward. For the first time since he arrived, Leo was leaving the island alive. But he wasn't free. He wasn't safe. He wasn't healed. He was just gone from the place that tried to destroy him. As the van crossed a small bridge away from the jail, Leo looked through the tiny slot in the door. The buildings grew smaller behind him, but he knew he would never forget them, because behind those walls were stories no one tells, voices no one hears, lives no one protects. And every day, more people enter, and some don't leave the same. Leo whispered to himself, "They'll never fix that place, not until the truth comes out." And the truth was simple. The horrors inside weren't accidents. They were the system.